Welcome to this class. Our topic of discussion today is trade, and you'll find that trade is buying and selling of goods and services with an aim of making a profit. So, in simple terms, what we can say is that trade is just buying and selling of goods and services in an economy or in any other place. And we have got the importance of trade. Why are we supposed to carry out now the buying and selling of goods and services in an economy? So the first thing that you can say is that it can assist us acquire what we cannot produce. Take an example that you are harvesting fish. Another person is carrying out a farming. In this case, maybe the person carrying out farming could produce milk. In this case, you can exchange the two, or you can sell milk to this other person, and the other person who is harvesting fish can sell it to you exactly what that person is producing. The other thing is it can avail variety of the same goods and services. So we are able to get exactly what we cannot produce in where we come from. So a fair variety of goods and services to all of us. It also creates an outlet of the same goods and services. In this case, we can have the producer and we can still have the consumer. So the work of the producer is to ensure that we have the goods, and after producing, there is need for the consumers to take up the product and use. So in such a case, we can say it is going to create an outlet, because this is the genesis and this is the ending point of the product. Remember the time we were discussing about production, we could say that production is not complete until when the consumers consume that product. The other thing that is very obvious is it is going to create employment, creating job employment or just employment. It also encourages what we call specialization and division of labor, because not all of us do have advantages in maybe the minerals that we have, or just the raw materials that can be used in carrying out production. So the person who is having the raw material here can take the advantage of now specializing in producing a certain product, and therefore we can still have people being given an activity to perform that suits their skills. It can also promote peace and international understanding. Trade can be classified into two broad categories. That is, you can talk about the local trade and you can talk about the international trade or the foreign trade. So in this case, if one country is not able to produce the same product that maybe your country is producing, in this case, it is going to bring in a peace, and by the end of the day, countries are going to trade well. It can also still provide a revenue to the owner of the business or to the government in form of profits and also the tax. So the owner of the business is going to get profits and the government is going to get tax, because without tax the government cannot be in a position to carry out the trade effectively. So those are some of the importance of trade. I had mentioned about the classification of trade. We have two ways in which we can classify it. We can classify trade, that is the local trade, which can also be categorized into two, that is the retail trade, and we have the wholesale trade. Another classification of trade is the foreign trade or the international trade. The international trade can be classified into two. That is why we have the imports and we also have the exports. To some extent, we can still have this trade being classified into also two. That is bilateral trade and multilateral trade. Now, in this case, if it is a retail trade, you find that this is the person that is going to sell goods to the final consumer. We can have something small here to illustrate something here. We can have the producer or the manufacturer, we can have the agent, we can have the wholesaler, we can have the retailer, and we can finally have the consumer. So in carrying out the trade, you'll find that this retailer or this retail trade is the last person that can sell goods to the consumer, and the wholesale trade is the person who can sell goods to the retailer, that is from the producer or the agent or the middleman that you can have there, and sell to the retailers directly, or they can still sell to the consumers directly. Then on this other side, we have the imports and the exports. Imports is exactly what you sell to another, what you buy from another country to your country. Let's say Kenya is carrying out trade with Tanzania. In this case, you'll find that Kenya is going to buy, let's say, cotton from Tanzania. That is the imports. Then we have the exports. Exports is what you can sell to another country. Take an example, Kenya trading with Tanzania. Kenya can sell tea to Tanzania. Then these are the statements. We have the bilateral and multilateral trade. Bilateral trade is the trade between two countries. We can talk about Kenya and Tanzania, or Kenya and Sudan. Then multilateral trade is Kenya and other countries of Africa. We can still further see some of these classifications, whereby we can mention something small concerning the retail trade, whereby we can say with the retail trade, we can still have the small scale retailers, and we can still have the large scale retailers. In the small scale retailers, we can still have small scale retailers without shops, and we can still have small scale retailers with shops. A good example of retailers without shops is we can have the bedlars or the hawkers. We can also have roadside sellers, and we can still have open markets. That is one of the features that are going to classify the small scale retailers, that is without shops. Those with shops, we can still talk about single shops, we can talk about tied shops, we can talk about the kiosk, mobile shops, we can talk about market stalls, and we can still have the canteens. In most cases, what we need to understand about the small scale retailers, or what benefits can we get from the retailers without shops. In most cases, there is the cost burden. For them, they are not likely to incur a lot of expenditure because they don't pay rent. So it is how these people can still make their profits. We can still talk about they are convenient, or they can easily sell the goods to their customers within their reach. Another thing is most of their goods are low priced, either they are not expensive, and you can still have to reach a consensus on how you can come up to the price that you want to buy your product. I can still mention maybe 2 or 3 disadvantages of the small scale retailers with shops. One is they normally face a stiff competition from those established businesses. The same business or the same person here can be facing some effects with rain or just weather, rainfall. So this is another thing that this person is going to face as a challenge, or the small scale retailers are going to face. We can still talk about the job is tiresome because you're supposed to move with the goods from one place to another place in looking for the customers. The other thing is they don't have permanent operating places, and therefore for them operating is always very difficult. And therefore if this person is able to sell to you something that is defective, it means you're not going to be given that guarantee, and therefore it is going to be a loss to you. Another thing is that there is what you call certainty or the probability. For them, they're not sure if the business they are undertaking is going to give them exactly what they've invested in, and therefore we can talk about certainty. You're not sure exactly what is going to happen thereafter.